Welcome back. My name is Mildred. In this lesson, we are going to look at data types in Python. In the last lesson, we looked at the variables in Python and we created different variables that hold different values. Now, these values belong to different data types. The type of data. Is it a string of characters? Is it a number? Is it a decimal number? And so forth. Now, in Python, we have several built-in data types. The first we are going to look at is a string written str like this. This is just a sequence of characters like we have in the first name. Anything you quote in single or double quotes is a string in Python. Even if it's a single letter, it's a string as long as it is quoted in single or double quotes. Then we have int, which is an integer, a whole number, not a number with decimal point, is an integer. We have something called a float, and a float is a numeric data type that holds the digits with decimal points. So if you have 10.2, 10.0, this is called a float. We have another numeric type called complex. We're not going to really see examples of complex in this course, but it's a numeric data type that holds a kind of number that has a real part and an imaginary part. For instance, when we say z is equal to 3 plus 4j. So when we have the real part is the 3, the imaginary part is the 4. This part, the imaginary part. Okay? So why do we actually have this data type? When you do maybe in physics, things like signal processing, or in electrical engineering, if we're using Python code to do some automation in those kind of fields, then you see the use of the complex data types. But in this course now, we're not going to deal with it. Just know that it exists. Okay? We have another data type called a list. Now, this list data type is just like a variable that can store several values. Let's say, for instance, I want to name colors, for instance, is equal to, I want this to be a list of colors. So I'll put a pair of square brackets and then I can now name them red, green, blue. Okay, so this is a list. You can hold several values, even repeated values. You can use this to calculate frequency, statistics. So every time you want to store several values in one variable, we can use something called a list. It's a sequence type of data type. So we also have something we call tuple, written tuple right like this, and tuple just like a list, but it uses a pair of parentheses like this. So that is what we have. That's what a tuple is. But when we get into collection types, we are going to look at these different data types in details. Then we have something called a range. We're also going to use range when we start doing loops, and range is just something like I want to print out 0 to 10, for instance. So I can say range 10. So I'll say from everything before 10 up until 10. Okay. Then we have dict, the dictionary. It's like a mapping type where we have name value pairs. Like if we have a dictionary, for instance, let's say I want to say students, I'll have a pair of curly braces, then I'll have a name, let's say first name, and then I'll put a colon and the first name is John. So you have name value pairs of list. So let's say last name is equal to, you must quote the name. So the name can be called the key also. So you can say key value pair or name value pair, like that. Alright, so we have, so it's not equal to, is a colon. So we have a pair of curly braces, and then you have the name quoted, a colon, the value. As a comma separated list, you list all of the names and value in a dictionary. Then we have a set, and a set is declared using a pair of curly braces like a dictionary, but you just list things like we list them in a list. Alright, there are other data types like frozen sets, bool. When you hear bool or boolean, bool is written is just true or false. It's just when you want to choose if something is true or something is false. Then we have all the different binary types like the byte array, memory view, and then one you always see is like a non-type. Okay, when the value of something is none, like say x is equal to none, then it's of type non-type. But how do we know what the type of each variable is? Let's say, for instance, I say x is equal to none, and I say y is equal to 5. I say z is equal to 10.2, and then I say first name is equal to Mildred, right? If I want to know the type of each, I can now print out the type if I want, and we use the type method, and then I'll pass in the variable that holds that value whose type I want to know. So let me say I want to get the type of Z, and it will print out the type for me is a float. If I want to look at the type of Y, is an int, it should print out int for me. And if I want to look at the type of X, it should tell me it's a non-type. And if I want to print the type of first name, it should tell me it is a string. So this is how we find the types. So now that we know the different data types, we are ready to delve deep into real coding, and we'll start that next week. So thank you, and see you next week.